Isn't it just a great day to, I don't know, ask for a pay rise? See how that goes down with the boss. Wouldn't it be even better if instead of you having to ask for a pay rise, I don't know, there was some independent group that regularly asked for pay rises on your behalf? Well, that's what the MPs have got. They don't even need to ask. And then they can go, oh, well, we didn't really want it, but it was forced upon us. The politicians do, protest a little bit too much in this regard. Perhaps joining us on the program now from Team Maxim, the Maxim Institute, Jason Heale. Jason, kia ora. Thanks for your time today.
No worries, mate. Good to be here.
That would be a good gig, wouldn't it? If you didn't even have to ask for a pay rise, there's this group of people whose job it is to ask for a pay rise for you, and they're not even a trade union, right?
That's right. They kind of just calculate it based on numbers or whatever it is they arrive at, and then they just go, "Yep, this is your pay rise for this year."
Which is, I mean, it's good that it's independent. Don't get me wrong, but the optics are absolutely shocking on this one. Let's get a pay rise the same week that we, I don't know, sack 6,000 civil servants. Although now we know where they're getting the money from for the pay rise, right?
That's right. Yeah, the optics, as you say, are just terrible. That in the middle of a cost of living crisis, that the MPs who earn a base salary, in researching the column that I wrote on this, I found out their base salary is $163,961.
Plus
so
perks. That's plus perks,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So that doesn't include accommodation supplements, travel allowances, and expense accounts to carry out their jobs. And that's just a backbench MP who doesn't have any responsibility. So if you're a backbench MP who also it doesn't have any extra responsibility. So if you also chair a select committee, you get extra $10,000 and stuff like that. So
and I'm loving the fact that, look, if you don't have enough money, I don't know, to buy a coffee for one of your staffers, you can put that on the expense account and then get the staffer to fill in the form. So that's good, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it is. The optics are terrible given that the base salary is what it is. And the numbers say that over the last 6 years since the MPs froze their pay, general wages have gone up 28%.
Wow.
And so, so you'd go, so we're going to do 28% increase on 160.
When we say general wages, there's a whole bunch of people yelling at their radios going, not my wages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, this is a tough job. I certainly wouldn't want to do it, not even a backbencher. Not that anybody would vote for me anyway, Jason, of course. Yeah. But I suppose that question of do we want to have a situation where the only people that can afford to be politicians are people with trust accounts, people who are former CEOs and still act like it, or people that are retired lawyers and soon to be lobbyists?
Yeah, that's true. I guess the argument is you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, right? Yeah. That's the argument that you get.
Yeah.
And I would say, well, we're not exactly paying peanuts now, and we don't exactly, So I think part of the issue is that politics is not a business. It's not like a business. The country's not run like, and it shouldn't be run like a corporation.
Yep.
And there are plenty of careers that people do that don't pay well, but they do it because they're passionate about it. I can think of church ministers as a classic example. Teachers, nurses. I was having a conversation with someone today who said, "Man, those nurses and teachers should be put on a pedestal because there's no way they do it just for the money. They do it because they're passionate about it."
Yeah.
And I would hope that civil servants and kind of it's on the labels, it's on the can, right?
Yep.
Civil servant. They should be doing it because they're passionate and they want to serve and they want to advocate for more a more flourishing society for our nation.
Yeah.
So I'd hope that that's the kind of people that you'd attract.
Now you said that it's not a business. It's not like a corporation. Just want to challenge that a little bit because it's certainly looking a little bit corporate at the moment with our Prime Minister, ex-CEO. And interestingly, his recent trip to Southeast Asia talking with a lot of other world leaders who also have that kind of CEO vibe to them. And of course, the government's recently said, hey, these are our targets, and we're going to have regular reports, and we're going to have quarterly updates, and you can measure us against that. I mean, this would be a way around it, wouldn't it? Instead of just getting this impartial committee to give them all more money, is to go, okay, you want to play that corporate game? You get your bonuses when you meet your targets, guys. Game on.
Yeah, I think there should be some accountability associated with that for sure. And I would hope that's what the democratic system is built on, that accountability, that if you don't deliver, you get voted out.
Yeah.
I also think that there's a slight difference between running a country like a corporation where the executive decides what's best and then they run it and everyone does that, versus running a country in a business-like manner that is, runs a tight ship as well. Is accountability, there is reporting, there is consequences, which I would like to see. Yeah, for sure.
Totally. And we do get those consequences. I mean, currently every 3 years, if they don't deliver on what they've said they're going to deliver, we get to vote them out. But it doesn't seem to be too much of a causal link in that regard. It's kind of like saying, oh, well, yeah, I'm a shareholder in this company. I've got 5 shares. And I get to have my say. I get to influence the direction of the company. We don't really, do we? It's just dropping.
I'd like to think
it's an
we
intellectual
do,
idea rather than like, oh gosh, they're going to pay attention to us now because I get to vote.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think that the democratic process involves more than just voting, and I'd like to see people get involved more at the select committee process, at being in touch with their local candidate and advocating for what they need locally and things like that. Because I think that the more you let these people know how life in everyday New Zealand is, the more they can respond to that. And that's part of the issue that I'm a little bit concerned about, is the growing disconnect between people in Parliament versus people outside of Parliament. And the money is, I guess, a symptom of that. But there are other things like home ownership, for example. I think 95% of MPs own at least one home, 62% own more than one home, less than half of everyday New Zealanders own a home.
And yet all of the MPs are also on some form of accommodation supplement. The people that least need it get paid to have a house in Wellington as well as wherever their other house is. Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
So there is. That's part of the bigger concern, right? Is there is a divide between those in the house and those outside the house that they are elected to represent and advocate for.
And part of the other issue, I suppose, is that in terms of representative democracy, as I mentioned beforehand, there's a disproportionate level of lawyers in the House. And they're lawmakers. I get that. It's kind of the sort of stuff that they're interested in. But what if we had representatives of different sectors of society? Yes, perhaps we've got ex-CEOs, a few lawyers in there, but I'm not saying proportionality of trades, but certainly a little bit more representative of our society than what we've got at the moment.
Yeah, I think that would be really great. I think one of the articles that I came across mentioned that like almost 100% of our current MPs come from a managerial class background.
Yeah.
So there's not many in the trades or in the secretariat or anywhere, kind of the blue collar representatives. And you think about how most of our exports are primary industries. It'd be great to see more people elected from those sort of industries to represent those people in Parliament.
Yeah, some people from farming backgrounds, some people from trade union backgrounds, although a few of those on the other side of the House, to be fair. But actually people representing the people. One of the great things, of course, about this, and as we started with it, the MPs can save face a little bit. Because they haven't had a pay rise for 6 years, and they can go, oh, well, we weren't asking for a pay rise. That was what this other group of people that MPs appointed This is the conclusion that they've come to, so maybe they've got a dodge in that regard. I'm just grateful, Jason, that there's not enough of them, that all of them getting pay rise will have inflationary pressure on the rest of the economy. But very much appreciate your insights as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.